Hello and welcome to another edition of TWM Talks. I am your host Shirleigh, and before we get into our interview with current Impact Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo, I wanted to just plug a few sponsors. The first being 1310 Apparel. They have got some beautiful wrestling merchandise that you can buy on their website, 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. Now, 1310, they've got the 13 written as the word and then 10 as the number. So just be sure to make sure you get that right. But be sure to follow them on their social medias, 1310apparel, and be sure to go to 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. Another one of our sponsors wanted to plug is We Love Sport UK. Now, they are a fantastic app, and now the pubs are open. You can go and find out whether you can go to any parties that involve wrestling shows, football shows, whatever sport you want to go see in the pub. Check the We Love Sport app to see where you can go and view sporting events. You can also look on their Twitter at We Love Sport UK for all the news related to sport. We're now going to go into our interview with the current Impact Knockouts champion, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Hello and welcome to another edition of TWM Talks. As I previously mentioned, we've got a very special guest where last week we had Impact World Champion Eddie Edwards. I personally think we've got the more superior champion in the Impact Knockouts champion, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. How are you, Deonna?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm great. This has been one that I've been looking forward to doing because when I started doing podcasting last year, you were on my list. So this is a really big one for me.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And you've been killing it recently. I know you've done all this. We've done podcasts where you've talked about where you once were, but I wanted to focus on what you're doing now because you joined Impact at the end of May and you've just been smashing it out of the park with everything. What made you want to go to Impact?
I think Impact puts such an emphasis on the women's division. And that's not something that's new. You know what I mean? Impact has done that since the TNA days. Mm-hmm. And since women were, the main draws and the highest rating segments of the show. So I really wanted to be somewhere that I could really hone in on some things about me, but somewhere that presented women's wrestling as top tier.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of competition within the division. And I think Impact hits all of those notes every single week.
Yeah, and with your match at Slammiversary, which by the way was fantastic, how did you feel being able to perform on Slammiversary?
Oh, I was so nervous. I was anxious all week leading up to the pay-per-view. Because I think I put a target on my back, and I think in some of the previous interviews I had done or podcasts I had done, I was very open about where I'd been and what had happened and what I was looking to do now. And Slammiversary was it was like I had to be on my game or, I was going to look silly. So for me, I really put so much emphasis on that presentation and on the wrestling that we did because I wanted to hit it out of the park. I wanted to do Impact proud, and they've put me on such a platform that I haven't been on before. I needed to give that back in the only way that I can, and that's through my wrestling. So,
yeah.
I'm thrilled with the feedback we've gotten from it. I'm so appreciative of the response that came from Slammiversary, and I'm really looking forward to some of the matches we have moving forward in Bound for Glory in October.
Yeah, and you're now the Impact champ. You're the Knockouts champion now. What does it mean to be part of that lineage? As you said before, the Knockouts championship has got such a legacy behind it. How does it feel to be part of that now?
Yeah, I mean, on that celebration call, I was in tears when Madison Rayne asked me how it would feel to be the Knockouts champion. And like I said before, there's such emphasis on the Knockouts division for, the past 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So for me now to put my name on a list with someone like Awesome Kong or Gail Kim or Madison Rayne or Tara or Mickie James, these are people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
As a little girl wanting to be a wrestler and wanting to be a part of the changes that they implemented then. So now my name's on the same list as them, and that's really, really surreal.
Well, that actually feeds nicely to my next question, which is about if you could pick, and because of the lineage, I'm going to let you pick 3. If you could pick 3 former knockout champions to face in your own dream match, who would you pick and why?
For sure, Madison Rayne. Mm-hmm. Gail Kim, definitely. And I've got to wrestle Awesome Kong an indie show up in Massachusetts a few years ago, but I'd love to wrestle her in an Impact ring.
Yeah. I think someone who I think you'd be a really good match with is Taylor Wilde as well.
Yeah, and, I've said about her, coming back, there's been, talks and rumors going around about the women's tag team titles coming back.
Yeah.
And, I said I would love for her to be a surprise at Slammiversary in that gauntlet and come back. And, she's been making some waves on Twitter with her new podcast, and photo shoots, and I would love to have her back in the locker room with us if that was a possibility.
TWM Wrestling wants you to check out 1310 Apparel, your place for fresh, fashionable wrestling merchandise. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, and loads more available at your fingertips. To get 25% off at checkout, use the code TWM25 when you go to 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. You can follow them at 1310 Apparel on Facebook and Instagram, 1310 App on Twitter, and once again, TWM25 at checkout to get 25% off at 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. That's 1310apparel.bigcartel.com. Yeah, and I think she is a great example of someone who's worked their way up, just like you have. Like, you've worked from the ground up for the past 8 years. How have things changed for women's wrestling in those 8 years since you've been in wrestling?
Yeah, I think I got into wrestling, in 2012 at the perfect time, because all of wrestling was kind of seeing these changes. So, not only WWE or, NXT, but the independent scene and an Impact, and, Ring of Honor was having women's wrestling in the last 8 years. So, I just hit that perfect time where I could really be a part of this evolution, revolution, however you want to brand it. We've been able to see it across all boards in every company on the independent scene with all of these, all women's wrestling shows. And, that's something, again, I always wanted to do. I wanted to be a part of the change to women's wrestling, of making it, a thing that wasn't popcorn matches or back breaks or bra and panties matches. I wanted to be taken as a serious wrestler.
Yeah.
That was always my goal, to be a part of that. So I think in the last, 8 years, I've been able to really do that. Yeah.
And I think what's really helped is having a group of women around, everyone just to want that same thing. And you mentioned before you were in Impact before. You did a one night only back in 2015. How are things different from 2015 to now in the Impact locker room?
Yeah, I think back in, 2014, 2016, some of the leaders are still there. We still have Madison Rain, we still have Gail Kim, but there's just been a new wave kind of come in, and I think, there was a lot of, veterans in the Impact locker room that were there before, and those roles needed to be filled as they filtered out. And I think Impact has really done a good job in recruiting women to fill those roles.
Yeah.
And replacing locker room leaders, but also keeping, their talent that was there since day one.
Yeah.
So we have Gail, we have Madison, who are, the leaders of the locker room who've been in Impact for years, but we also have someone like Taya Valkyrie who's, done it all. She's the longest reigning Knockouts champion ever, right?
Yeah.
We have Rosemary, who's been in Impact for so long. We have Jessica Havoc, former Knockouts champion. So there's a lot of really strong women that filled those roles as women left,
Yeah, I know. I get what you mean with that, because that's what you need. You need that kind of locker room which always refreshes but keeps what it is, because that's what the Knockouts division's done better than anything else. And you've kind of just answered my question about who would you like to face in the Knockouts locker room now, because there's so many fresh faces in there.
Yeah, I've never been in the ring with Taya Valkyrie. I've never been in the ring with Rosemary. So those are two that I've said in the past. Tasha Steele is someone who I've trained with.
Yeah.
We've been together since, day one. So to be in an Impact ring with her would be really fun for me. Kylie Ray is the number one contender for my Knockouts championship. So I don't know when that match is going to happen, but it's something I'm looking forward to, because I think she's an amazing talent.
Yeah.
And I just think that we can really put on a great show.
Yeah, I think that I'm looking forward to the match with Kylie Rae. But what we found out as of yesterday, we found out that at TNA Impact Emergence, you're taking on Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship. How does it feel for you to know that Jordan's kind of bypassed Kylie in a sense?
Yeah, well, Kylie's stuck in Wrestle House right now, right?
Yeah.
So I think if Jordynne was going to have a rematch, now would be, the perfect time.
Yeah.
And I said it last night on Twitter. I said it all day yesterday since the match at Emergence was announced of like, I've already beaten her once. She verbally quit. She gave up the match.
Mm-hmm.
So if she wants to be humiliated again, then that's fine. I will keep humiliating girls until Kylie is ready to leave Wrestle House.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
What do you think of Wrestle House? Like, as you've just come in to Impact, what do you think of this whole Wrestle House thing?
Yeah, I think it's different, and it's just having an open mind and the wrestling world is weird right now with everything going on in the pandemic. So I think it's a really interesting way to cut back on wrestling, but introduce new character layers.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to kind of see a variety of talent that maybe wouldn't be used on the show weekly. And it's giving everyone a new platform. It's giving them a new dimension. And I think that the response to it's been really positive, and I'm excited to see where it goes and to see how they all get out of there.
Yeah, and would you go in?
Ooh, I think so. I think it would be fun. I have this this dream to be on a reality show that the girls make fun of me about. So if that is the only time I get to be on a reality show that's in Wrestle House, I think it's a perfect blend of both of my worlds.
Well, which reality shows would you want to go on then in that case?
Oh, yeah, I've watched The Real World.
Really?
Since I was young. And I don't watch it as much now, just because it's, a little different and it's the challenge now, but I would love, if they did like a Real World reboot, to go on that, or even to be on the challenge.
Yeah, I was going to say the challenge.
I wanted to do since I was a kid. Yeah.
Well, we've only just got the challenge over here, so I've only watched a few series, and I'm obsessed with it, and I'm thinking, like, there's so many wrestlers I want to see on it, and it's just crazy, that show, so I'm glad that you said the challenge, because I can talk about that one. But like, you wouldn't go on like Jersey Shore, so you're from New Jersey, you wouldn't go on Jersey Shore, no?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Right, I'm going to give you one more question, which is about your future goals. Now, what do you want to do in 5 years' time? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh, that's a hard one. So in past interviews, I've said I want to be a champion.
Yeah.
And that is what made winning at Slammiversary so special, because I've never gotten to carry a division before, and I've never been given the opportunity to be a champion before.
Yeah.
So that was really like my only goal that I had coming into Impact and getting a title shot so soon, was to win.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but like, I don't really know in wrestling. But in terms of like personal life, I'm in college.
Oh, okay.
I just went back to school a couple months ago, so in the next 5 years, I'd like to earn my degree.
So what is it you're doing a degree in?
So I'm studying history right now. I'm a teacher.
Oh, nice. I used to like history. I have to teach it because I'm a school teacher by day. So teaching history is like I Google it and then just teach it. I don't actually know the ins and outs, but more power to you for doing your degree. Like that's really impressive. Yeah. So would you do anything with that degree, or would you do you just wanting to have that backup plan?
A little bit of both. So I was a teacher before I started wrestling for preschool. And it was always a goal of mine to go back to college and get a degree, but wrestling kind of just took off and took a lot of time away from, teaching, but then also school. So I would love to earn a degree and go back to being a teacher one day, if need be, and try to use it that way. Otherwise, it's just fun, you know, for me to study, and I like to write papers and do all that nerdy stuff. So, I really just like to learn. So even if I don't use it, it's nice to have.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree. I'm a teacher. I cannot say anything more than that. Like, I have to have that backup plan. I'd love to do this full time, but teaching's my back is there, and I've been teaching for 6 years now, and I love it. So I completely see why you've got that as a backup plan.
Yeah. You know, you can't wrestle forever. So,
no.
I mean, I need to do something at some point, and I don't want to be just like a stir-crazy stay-at-home mom. So,
Right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out today to talk. I'm going to let you now plug any socials and anything else you want to promote. This is your time now to plug anything.
Yeah, so everyone can follow me at Deonna Purrazzo on Twitter and on Instagram. Both of those accounts are verified. They're my only accounts at Deonna Purrazzo. And just for everyone that is in the UK, you can watch Impact every Wednesday night, on Fight Network. So I know I've gotten a bunch of tweets about where to watch it, and that is your best source for it.
You stopped. That was my line. I was going to plug that. So you've done it for me. So all I have to do now is just plug my... You stole my line. So it's all good. I can just... That bit's done. So what I can do is just plug my personal accounts, which is my Twitter and my Instagram at Hey I'm Shirleigh. You can find this podcast on TWM Wrestle for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. You're going to find this everywhere. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you again, Deonna, for your time. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon.